So today we're going to go over the answers on the Geometry Chapter 7 practice test. The first question says, the ratio of the side lengths of a quadrilateral is 6 to 2 to 3 to 7, and its perimeter is 126 meters. What is the length of the shortest side? Now, in order to find the perimeter of any polygon, you would add up all the sides. But if you took 6, 2, 3, and 7, you'd realize, oh, that's way less than 126. That's why it uses this word ratio. So we're going to take the ratio of each of those sides and add them up to 126. So we're going to say that 6x plus 2x plus 3x plus 7x equals 126. Add all those x's together, you get 18x. Divide both sides by 18. And you get that x is equal to 7. So you take that 7 and you plug it back in, and you find that the shortest side, the smallest of these numbers, is 2. So 2 times 7 means that the shortest side is 14 meters. Number 2 says, solve the proportion. In order to solve a proportion, we just do the cross product. I prefer my variable on the left, so I'm going to do this diagonal first. I'm going to multiply 6 times 10w, set it equal to this diagonal, 7 times 21. 6 times 10 is 60, so that's 60w, and 7 times 21 is 147. When you divide both sides by 60, you get w equals 2.45. Number 3, given that 10m equals 14n, find the ratio of m to n in simplest form. The easiest way to write a ratio is as a fraction. So if we start with 10m, set it equal to 14n, we want to get m over n. We do that by dividing both sides by n. They cancel over here, and we have 10m over n equals 14. So we want to get rid of the 10, and we divide both sides by 10. They cancel over here, and we have m over n equals 14 over 10, which reduces to 7 over 5. Number 4, one equilateral triangle has sides of 9 feet long. Another equilateral triangle has sides of 13 feet long. Find the ratio of the areas of the triangles. So this has to do with the sides being in a ratio of a to b, their perimeters in the ratio of a to b as well, and their areas in a ratio of a squared to b squared. So if the sides are in a ratio of 9 to 13, we're simply going to take those two numbers and square them. So 9 squared is 81, 13 squared is 169. If you can reduce it, you would reduce it. Number 5, given that 2 points on a line are P is at 7:11 and Q is at 12:9, write a ratio expressing the slope. So I'm going to use the slope formula, which is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I'm going to label my 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2. Then I know I've plugged them into the right spot. So I'm going to have 9 minus 11 over 12 minus 7. 9 minus 11 is negative 2, and 12 minus 7 is 5. So the slope is negative 2/5. Number 6, Kobe designs a rectangular vegetable garden. What will be the length of the full-size vegetable garden? So we're going to take the design and make that the left side of our proportion, and then we're going to take the full-size vegetable garden and have that be the right side of our vegetable garden. This is the side we want to find out. We're going to call that x. So for our proportion, We set up a ratio equal to a ratio or a fraction equal to fraction. And we're going to do 12 to 18. Set that equal to 96 over x. And then do the cross product. I prefer my variable on the left, so I'm going to have 12 times x. Set that equal to 18 times 96. Multiply that out on my calculator. We get 1,728. Divide both sides by 12. And x is equal to 144. This is in inches. Number 7 says, to find out how wide a river is, John and Sally mark an X at the spot directly across from a big rock on the other side of the river. Then they walk in a straight line along the river perpendicular to the straight line between the X and the rock. Luckily, everything's already marked for you. After walking 20 feet, John stops while Sally continues along the straight line for another 10 feet. She makes a 90-degree turn and walks for 30 feet. Then she stops and looks at the rock. She sees the straight line from her to the rock through John. What is the distance from X to the rock? So that's this distance right here that we want to locate it. I'm actually going to call it X, because that's what I want to find out. And then I'm going to set up a ratio of the sides that are next to the right angle. So on this triangle, it's 20 to x. And on this triangle, I did the shorter side and then the longer side, so 10 to 30. Then I can do my cross product and solve. So I prefer my variable on the left, so I'm going to multiply x times 10, which is 10x. Set that equal to 20 times 30, which is 600. Divide both sides by 10. So x is equal to 60, and this one is measured in feet. Number 8 says a tree is standing next to a 40-foot high building. The tree has an 18-foot shadow, while the building has a 16-foot shadow. How tall is the tree? Rounded to the nearest foot. So I'm going to draw a tree. And then I'm going to draw a building, and they each have a shadow. And then I'm just going to label the pieces of information they give us. So if it's a 40-foot high building, I'm going to label it 40 feet. And if it's the tree has an 18-foot shadow, I'm going to label it 18 feet. And the building has a shadow of 16 feet. So I've labeled 3 things. One thing is missing, which is the height of the tree. So I'm just going to use these numbers to set up my proportion. So I'm going to say x to 18 equals 40 to 16. Do the cross product. So we get 16x equals 18 times 40. So on my calculator, I punch in 18 times 40 and I get 720. Divide both sides by 16 and the answer is 45. And that one is measured in feet. Number 9 says that the 2 triangles are similar. We need to find the perimeter and the area for JKL. Right? So if we take this side from the first triangle, we're going to have a ratio of 12 to this side, which is 18. Just so happens that the ratio of the perimeters is the same. So if the perimeter of the first triangle is 28, the perimeter of the second triangle is what we need to find. So we do the cross product. We get 12x equals 18 times 28. We multiply that in the calculator. We get 504. Divide both sides by 12. So x is equal to 42 feet. That's the perimeter. Now we need the area. The area is slightly different. The area is squared. So we're going to take the 12 and square it over the 18 and square it. Set it equal to the area of the first triangle, which is 18, over the area of the second triangle, which we don't know, so it's going to be x. Multiply this out on the calculator. 12 squared is 144, so we have 144x equal to 18 squared, which is multiplied by 320, is 324 times the 18, ends up being 5,832. Divide both sides by 144. So x is equal to 40.5 feet squared.